where we need to stop and realize that, yes, everybody has been desensitized by the insane ramblings of Donald Trump through the years, by his crazy actions. This is a time to stop, though, and for people to realize, and I hope people who once supported Donald Trump will move away from him and realize that Donald Trump is not talking about supporting Putin and Russia invading our European allies. He's not saying that for no reason. He's not talking about how great Orban is, a guy who attacks Western democracy. And Donald Trump says, you know what, I'm going to be a dictator from day one, and America needs a strong man. These ramblings, they're made with a very clear intent: to let voters know what they are going to get after he's president of the United States. And after he's president of the United States and he crushes constitutional norms and probably ignores Supreme Court rulings, I think that's next, and just completely trashes the U.S. Constitution, will say, well, this is what I ran on and this is what you all voted for. But this is a moment where you have Republicans parroting Vladimir Putin. You have the Republican likely nominee, saying, yes, Putin, invade Europe. Russia, invade Europe. You have all of these things happening at the same time. And it's not an accident. And I've got to say, even I am shocked that Republicans on the Hill haven't stood up to Donald Trump, saying that Russia should invade NATO allies. But they haven't. Which means, again, this is a moment in time everybody has to stop and recognize that not only is American democracy on the line, but freedom across the globe on the line. Donald Trump is siding with Xi. Donald Trump is siding with Putin. Donald Trump is siding with Kim Jong-un. These are the people that he wants to make alliances with, and he wants to turn his back on a free Europe.
Right. And read the writing on the wall, Joe, because those are not just that's all that's true about Trump. And we've talked now for the last 6-7 years about the way in which the Republican Party has capitulated to Trump and become a party unrecognizable from the Republican Party that you joined when you were a wee one in the Northwest Florida and in Georgia and other places where you grew up. But look at, Ron Johnson, you hear Donald Trump saying the things he's saying about Putin. At the same time that's happening, that Trump is saying those things, saying, giving a permission slip, encouragement to Putin, and saying, there would, if the NATO allies don't pay their bills, their dues, or whatever, you'll have please, I would encourage you to go in and invade those countries. You have Tucker Carlson is over in Moscow, sitting in front of Vladimir Putin, doing a softball interview with Vladimir Putin, and then you have Ron Johnson. These are just like the points that you kind of connect these dots. Here's Ron Johnson, who sounded in that clip like the senior senator from Yekaterinburg. He's like, basically says, well, no, hey, we got to tell the American people the truth here. There's no stopping Vladimir Putin. He says it not even with a tone of regret. He's sort of in awe of Putin. Well, you can't stop him. There's no way Ukraine could win this war. This is like, forget Neville Chamberlain and appeasement. This is like a guy sitting in the grandstands, sort of kind of not exactly cheering Hitler on, but sort of saying, wow, that guy Hitler, man, he's got a lot of strength. He's got a lot of power. You can't stop him. We just got to give it up here. Lindsey Graham, an incredible spectacle of mendacity and buffoonery and self-abasement. His would you ever imagine that you would have ever heard Lindsey Graham, whatever you thought of him back in the day, saying, as Donald Trump suggested, not only has he adopted the Trump line, but throughout that prepared statement, it's peppered with these bouquets that he's throwing to Trump along the way. It's not just enough to take Trump's position. You have to, along the way, every third sentence, sort of acknowledge that it's Trump's position. And it's that the cultishness of the Republican Party towards Trump is on vivid display here. And what that amounts to in the context of world affairs is now increasingly something that comes close to being a cult to Vladimir Putin. That's where we are drifting now.
No, it is. It is. The cult is moving. And it's moving. Well, a cult on the far right already started with Orban. a guy who hates Western democracy and says he hates Western democracy, hates everything that has made this country great. It's really unbelievable, Willie. And with Lindsey Graham, you have Lindsey Graham self-fulfilling his own prophecy from many years back when he said, if the Republican Party nominates Donald Trump, they will be destroyed and they will deserve it. Well, here we are with the Republican Party that cozies up to Vladimir Putin, the leader of communist China, the leader of communist North Korea, who wants to abandon an ally fighting against a Russian invader because they want freedom. They want to be like us. They want to look westward instead of looking towards Moscow. And Lindsey Graham is abandoning them. Ron Johnson is abandoning them. Tom Cotton is abandoning them. Ted Cruz is abandoning them. All these so-called conservatives who are anything but are abandoning the freedom fighters whose not only lives are on the line, but whose country's freedom is hanging by a precarious thread right now. And it's the Republican Party of Ronald Reagan cutting that thread.
And it's all in the service, obviously, of Donald Trump. As John said, that 3-sentence statement from Lindsey Graham had Trump's name in it twice. As Donald Trump said, as President Trump has said, he wants to make sure Donald Trump hears that to stay in his good graces, to become Secretary of State, I don't know what. But let's remind people what Republican senators are defending here, who they're getting behind. This is Donald Trump speaking at that rally on Saturday about what he would do if he were president to our NATO allies in their relationship with Russia if Russia wanted to attack, followed by Senator Roger Marshall, a Republican, reacting.
One of the presidents of a big country stood up and said, well, sir, if we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? I said, you didn't pay? You're delinquent? He said, yes, let's say that happened. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay. You got to pay your bills.
Yeah, I just encourage people not to overreact. I've learned a long time ago not to overreact to what President Trump says or what he tweets. I think that people should take everything he says seriously, but not literally. Vladimir Putin is scared to death of Donald Trump. He treats Joe Biden like his boy, like his puppet.
We're from Poland, sir, and those comments really caused shockwaves in our country and in other countries in our region. How can we rely on a president who claims that he will let Russia do whatever the heck they want?
Yeah, I think that's totally inaccurate reporting of what President Trump was saying.
What would you say to those countries who are now kind of panicked about what he just said?
Yeah, they need to get over it. They need to stand up and be tough.
Unclear what he's talking about, inaccurate reporting. We just played the bite. You heard it for yourself. You heard what Donald Trump said. And if anything, Michael Steele, these last couple of days have reminded us and really put the spotlight on the fact that these Republicans will do anything for Donald Trump. Doesn't matter who they are, doesn't matter what the issue is. They find themselves scrambling to defend him, even when he's talking about allowing our allies to be attacked. Which tells you, if he is put back in the White House, it is a blank check. It is carte blanche. There is nobody who's going to stand in his way.
Yeah, Willie, I mean, you play those clips back to back and you hear the idiocy, because what else is he going to say? He's not going to sit there and do what, you know, a senator from 25, 30 years ago in the Republican Party would do if a president said, I'm just going to let Russia just roll over Europe. In which there would be outrage up and down and in and out of the party. Now it's applauding the idiocy of Donald Trump. As Joe put it, basically a two-bit shoe salesman who got lucky and got a television show and suckered everyone into believing that he was an actual businessman. That's what we're dealing with here. The debasement of the Republican Party by its own members is stunning. The humiliation, from the humiliation of the RNC chairman to the absolute embarrassment of the words coming out of Lindsey Graham's mouth and others. You sit here and you wonder, if you're an American citizen who's about to vote, okay, yeah, I don't think I really want that. But that's not the case, is it? Poll after poll is showing Donald Trump beating Joe Biden because they think this lunacy that you just played, the idiocracy that is now in the Republican Party, is going to be a better solution for whatever problems they think they have or may really have than what Joe Biden is doing right now, trying to hold the course for the country's economy and protect the nation from having to get into a larger conflagration in Europe, to stabilize the unstable moment in the Middle East. They think this, what you just played, is a better solution. And they think these people who are feeding this are the best leaders for this country right now. And so the American people have to do a lot of deep soul searching here, folks. Y'all got to get your heads out of wherever it is and understand what's in front of you. The man told you he wants to be a dictator. What the hell do you think that means? It's not that he's going to provide you with popcorn or that he's going to make life better for you. Dictators don't do that. Pick up a damn history book and read it and understand exactly what he's telling you he's going to do. And the people who are around him that are perpetuating this and that are pushing this out, they need to be unelected. Do not risk the future of your children and grandchildren to this stupidity. It's not worth it. We are better than this. But here we are, Joe. And Willie, here we are. Right?
Well, listen to